Folks, there's great value and benefit in being able to look at something in retrospect. Yeah, being able to look back and you get a whole new clarity, a whole new picture of exactly what was going down, exactly what should have happened, and exactly what did not happen that should have happened. This is the reason why historians don't do too much analysis. They analyze, but it's not too much, because they just tell you what happened, and it becomes very clear to you, even before they do the analysis, that this person was the dictator. Of course, his actions would not last the test of time. Yeah, this other person was an idealist, etc., etc. And so today, I'm going to do this recording addressing somebody, a Kenyan who is listening to it in the year 2058. That's 40 years from now. And I'm going to analyze the temperatures in the country, and I'm going to analyze perhaps one of the most anticipated events in the history of the Republic of Kenya, yeah, which is scheduled for the 30th of January 2018. The swearing in of Raila Amolo Odinga, the people's president. Now, before we go there, let me just give you a funny story, yeah, to illustrate this so that you understand what the value of looking back at something. Yes, the value and also the regrets. Yeah. When I was in standard 3 or 4 or thereabouts, yeah, I had this classmate who had a crush on me. I can still see her blonde hair shining in the morning break time, as we ran around playing. Yep, in those days, mid-late 70s, public schools still had a sizable, not very much, but a small proportion of Mzungus still around. I can still see her smile. Yeah, she would walk up to me at the least excuse to ask me all kinds of crazy questions. And I would respond very impatiently, sometimes almost rudely. Yeah, and that I regret now. Although there was a reason. You see, politically, you're a standard 3, standard 4 boy. Girls are yak. Yeah, that's how it was, at least in our time. The official position was, why would you want to have anything to do with a girl? Why would you want to have anything to do with a yak? Indeed, looking back now, I can see very clearly that I was behaving like the typical Kenyan politician. Because what I was saying and what I was doing was not in tandem with what was in my heart. Whenever I saw her, my heart started beating very fast. One day something very sad happened. It was the end of the term, and the class teacher announced that Christine would be leaving. Yeah, her parents would be going back to Great Britain. And so we had some sweets and sodas and cakes to send her off. And as we stood at the entrance where we usually used to wait for our parents to come and pick us up, me as usual waiting for the cop car to come and pick me up, Christine walked up to me and she grabbed my hand and she kissed it and she squeezed it very tightly. Then she ran off to our parents' waiting car. Now you can imagine the chaos of standard 3, standard 4 kids being picked up by their parents at the end of the term. Total chaos. But I never saw the chaos. I just saw her running off into the waiting car, yeah, and drive off. Most people around did not notice what had happened, yeah. But what happened after that is that on my wrist where I'd received that kiss, I never washed that place for over a week. Well, one thing that I will be forever grateful to Christine for, yeah, in retrospect, something that has stood the test of time, is that she helped me do better in class. I paid attention more because I was horrified of looking stupid in class in front of Christine. I was horrified that I would fall anywhere below the expectations of this English lass. And the biggest regret is that I did not respond well to her. The biggest regret I have is that I did not, walk up to her and tell her, can you walk over to the tuck shop and buy a lollipop or something? And of course, talk. Yeah. Let me not bore you anymore with that story. But I think we can clearly get the picture here. When you look back at something, it is as clear as day. When you're actually going through it, living through it, there are a lot of things that hinder you from looking at it clearly. Emotions, the politics of the time, yeah. Like we have seen in my story, there was a lot of politics in Standard 4. Politics of girls are yuck. Yeah. And of course, that was just politics because my heart said different. Yeah. Same today. It's exactly the same today. For instance, die-hard Jubilee supporters are saying all kinds of rude things and funny things. But in their heart of hearts, things are very different. They know the truth. The truth is always in the heart. It is impossible to lie to the heart. Impossible. So you there listening to this in the year 2058, you have probably retrieved this recording from some old YouTube videos from 40 years back. Yeah. The date is 25th January 2018. And we are just about to go into a very historic event. Yeah. We are about to go into what many are going to say was a game changer situation in Kenya. And let me dwell on things that are very clear to you there in 2058, yeah, that folks here in the year 2018 are not seeing, and to many it's not clear. There are many players in this drama of life, but they can be reduced into three groups: NASA, Jubilee, and the people. NASA and Jubilee are political parties, yeah, run by politicians, and politicians have always been the same and will always be the same since the beginning of time. Indeed, you there in the year 2058, you know politicians. They have never changed. NASA wants to get into power, and they're riding on the fact that there's a lot of discontent in the country. People are fed up. Punda imechoka, in short. Yeah, the donkey's tired. Yeah, people want a change in our political scene. They want the end to electoral fraud. Yes, and they want an end to this 5-year cycle of tension every time we go into elections. NASA are riding on that mood to be able to meet the objectives. Jubilee's objectives are very simple: to stay in power at all costs. Period. But what do the people say? Actually, it's interesting because the people were given an idea, a germ of an idea, swaying Raila Odinga because he actually won the elections, which is a fact. A fact that is even in the hearts of the most radical, die-hard Jubilee supporters. And what did the people do with that idea? They picked it up and ran with it. So much so that NASA politicians, this is the truth, NASA politicians lost control. And so the position now with the people is that they must sway in Raila Odinga. Whether or not he likes it, whether the international community likes it or not, they must. Indeed, after the ill-fated elections, a lot has happened to provoke the people even further. Yeah. So if they were determined before that there should be change in Kenya, now, several months after the elections of August 8th, they're even more determined than ever. In public, Jubilee politicians are having fun. Yeah, they're having fun saying things that they want their constituents to hear. For instance, the idea of having a cultural event, yeah, a free medical clinic to circumcise Kenyans, happening in Uhuru Park on the very same day that the scheduled swearing in of Raila Odinga is supposed to happen, at the very same place. Now, Moses Kuria's constituents love that. Yeah. In fact, in a recent press briefing, Most of the other Jubilee people standing next to him, were just laughing. They found it so hilarious. Now, you listening to this from the year 2058 must also find this hilarious, especially because what was really happening here is that the country of Kenya is due for circumcision on January 30th or shortly before. Something else not clear, but very clear to you in 2058, is that in this kind, looking at the events that have unfolded, looking at this provocation by Moses Kuria and company, looking at everything else that is happening politically, it is safe to say that avoiding chaos shortly before the 30th of January, will be very, very difficult. And it's because of the resolve of the people. Little to do with the politicians. That's what people don't realize. It is really the people. The people are angry. The people are tired. Punda imechoka. That is really the crux of our problem for January 30th. When you hear NASA youth saying, harusi ya mwisho sio shida, mtu akona vitu tatu za muhimu kwa maisha: siku ya kuzaliwa, siku ya kuoa ama kuolewa, na siku ya kutoka kwa hii dunia, ambayo ni harusi ya mwisho. Loosely translated, there are three important days in the life of a man: the day they are born, a man or a woman, the day they are born, the day they marry or get married, and the day they leave this earth. And so what the NASA youths are saying is that leaving this earth is not the issue. The issue is bringing an end to electoral injustice. The issue is bringing change to Kenya. Now, when you hear people talking like that, and you don't get scared, my friend, I think you'd better go and see a doctor. The kind of doctor who deals with the brains and reasoning of a person, and the capacity, to comprehend things. So the long and short of my kizungu mingi is that the issue here is not the swearing in of Raila Odinga. Nope. The big issue here is the voice of dissent, very loud and growing louder by the day, from the people of Kenya. Because the possibilities are very high that all those involved in the Raila Odinga swearing in are going to be under some kind of house arrest, shortly before that date. And therefore, chances are that it will be impossible for them to make it to the venue, which in my view will only make things worse. Because the people of Kenya have already decided that the swearing in must happen. The swearing in must take place. And so putting the person they're supposed to swear in under house arrest will only make them more livid. You taking in this from the year 2058, that is as clear as day. But those in my time, those here and now, do not see things that clearly. To many of them, it's very simple. Just deal with those NASA people. And by NASA people, they mean the NASA leaders, the NASA politicians. They conveniently forget that actually the events of 30th of January are people-driven, not politician-driven. So how do you deal with 1 million people? In fact, well over 1 million people. But how do you deal maybe with 1 million plus people turning up at the venue of an event that is supposed to happen? How? Do you shoot down the whole lot of them? Not possible. Do you arrest the whole lot of them? Not possible. What a wise man would do is to look for a way to appease those millions. In fact, even totally ignore the politicians and find a way to deal with the people. And the only way to deal with the people is to listen to what they're saying and understand why they're complaining. What is really the issue here? What is troubling them? What is causing them to start behaving like this? I mean, even the middle class, people will say there'll never be any problem in Kenya because all the manenos is in the slum areas. The middle income people just want to earn money, earn their salaries, move on. Well, in case you didn't know, the big problem we have now is that a large portion of that so-called middle class is talking exactly the same language being talked in the slums. Punda imechoka. Now, historically, it has always been understood that mobs do not think. When you say mob justice, they act as a mob without thinking much. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that this mob in Kenya seems to understand more than they're supposed to understand. Because you hear statements like, watajua hawajui. Yeah, meaning that they do not understand, but soon they will understand. Of course, referring to the ruling political class. Yeah, what they are saying is that the ruling political class has no idea what is happening with the people, has no idea about the feelings of the vast majority of Kenyans. But what they're also saying is that soon enough, they will find out. Watajua hawajui. And so, as we move to that date, you enjoy your Sunday, which will be the 28th, okay? Because according to what is unfolding in our country, the action will start on 29th of January. Things will start happening on 29th of January, yeah? Or even before, yeah? But assuming nothing else happens, really, if God keeps us all, let us enjoy the 28th of January, try and keep our mind off politics, spend time with your family, spend time with those you love and care for we do not know what will unfold from the 29th. We have no idea what will unfold on the 30th of January. Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.